everyone, and welcome to Transatlantic Watch Party, a podcast in which Dan in Canada and myself, Cara, in the UK, watch a film separately, then get together to discuss it. And this week we are discussing 2011's Goon, directed by Michael Dowse, with a screenplay by Jay Baruchel and Evan Goldberg, based on the book Goon, the true story of an unlikely journey into minor league hockey, by Adam Frattasio and Douglas Smith.
Yes, there he is.
I don't have a thing, but you have your show, and my dad and my brother, they have their doctor thing. Everybody's got something but me.
Come, sir. Let's just go watch The Assassins. I'll fill you full of corn dogs. Recognize!
Oh, he's going up in the stands.
Send us over here.
Oh, attaboy, Dutch!
Doug, you impressed the hell out of me last night. Come down to the rink for a tryout.
You know you're not joining the escapades, right, buddy?
You're not trying out for the what?
You've been touched by the fist of God. What number you want to wear?
69! Take the number 69! It's hilarious!
Is that never taken?
My brother, he wants to offer you a contract.
You're not here to play hockey. You're here to fight.
This is one step under the big league.
No glory holes here tonight!
Hi, I'm Doug Ladd. 2 rules, man. Stay away from my Percocets, and do you have any Percocets?
All right. What do you help take these guys?
I'm on your team!
I'm here to do whatever they need me to do. If they need me to bleed, and I'll bleed for my team.
You can do anything except punch people. What do I know?
So you're like the Hebrew Dolph Lundgren.
Doug, I dig hockey players. The violence, the beer. I'm horny a lot.
The boss, Ray. He is the master.
You have my respect. If ever there comes a time when it gets down to you and me, I will lay you low, kid.
This has all the elements of a sports masterpiece. Ready?
Yes, thank you for asking.
This is about to get ugly.
Hey, you want to go?
Yeah, okay.
Good luck, man. Good luck to you too, bud.
Knock him out.
And I think it's interesting. Evan Goldberg is Seth Rogen's writing partner. I think he's more well known for that. And Seth Rogen and Jay Baruchel are buddies. So I kind of imagine, I think it was probably Jay Baruchel's a huge hockey fan, so he probably came up with this idea, but maybe had never written a screenplay before and needed help, and Evan offered to help him with it, and they wrote it together. So, and I didn't realize this was based on a book, but all that feels very true to life. Sorry, don't have my summary ready. Oh no, I'm not ready.
Honestly, you're so unprofessional, Dan. I don't know why we bother.
I could just read it off the back. Here, let me read it off the back of the DVD case. That always works. Not content with his job as a bouncer at a local bar, Doug Glatt dreams of the kind of success enjoyed by minor league hockey goon Ross Ray. When a chance encounter with an on-ice thug leads to a bloody fist fight that Doug easily wins, the coach of the Halifax Highlanders sees potential in this man, who is only hampered by his lack of any hockey playing ability and his brother's old figure skates. Doug manages to join the team, and with the encouragement of his hockey-obsessed best friend, quickly becomes a rising star. Soon he'll have the opportunity to face off against Ross the Boss Ray, and perhaps finally land a girlfriend. Now all he needs is to learn how to skate. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. But it does make it sound like most of the movie is about him trying to learn to skate.
And I don't think he actually succeeds in that by the end of the film. Still doesn't really know how to skate, which is hilarious.
Fine. He's fine. The thing is, what he can do is stay on his feet while punching someone repeatedly. And I think that's probably difficult to do on an ice rink.
It's interesting you say that, because this all made me think of, one of the things this film made me think of is a short-lived attempt to make that into a thing, in which there was somebody here in Canada who tried to put together kind of a boxing style fight event where the hockey players would come out and only fight. There would be no game around them. They would only come out and they would face off, and they do exactly what we see in this film. And it did not last long. People just did not like it the same. You had to have the game around to make it worth it, I guess. We can talk about that in a second, though. Fighting is a very important part of hockey, as you may well have learned while watching this.
Yeah, you said to me last week, do you know anything about hockey? And I said, I've just watched Heated Rivalry. And you said, this is more about hockey. And I don't know whether it is. But because
Okay.
I still don't think I know anything about hockey, I now think I know about enforcing, which was something I didn't know about. I thought enforcing was just like one of your guys gets hurt on the ice, so you go and deck the other guy. I thought you were like the protector. I did not know that they would just walk out onto the ice, the whistle would blow, they would throw their gloves on the ground, and they would start punching each other for seemingly no reason. And apparently, this film makes it look like that happens a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't, but that's okay. It does happen in this particular circumstance. It does happen a lot. But the fighting happens fairly often, and often it is exactly what you're describing, a scenario in which somebody goes after the star of the team, a little too rough, hard check, take a high stick or something like that, and they're trying to intimidate him, right? They're trying to get in his head so he can't score and he can't play the game. And so the enforcer is there to take that worry away from him. Right. So he will basically go, okay, whatever. Doug's going to take care of him. I can focus on trying to score. And that's the idea, is that the enforcer is there. He's like a third line. Like in hockey, there are up to 4 lines playing and they're rotating through these lines. And he's on the 3rd or 4th line. So he's not a great hockey player. He should know how to skate. Oh, that's one objection to this film, is that he should definitely be better skater than Doug is. But that is his role, exactly his role. He's only there as it's described to him. Like he's only there to fight. And so, yeah, this film really explores that role, and I think explains it better than any other movie I've seen about hockey.
Yeah. So let's discuss who's in the film, Dan.
Oh, yes, of course. Okay, so we have stars Sean William Scott, a.k.a. Stifler from American Pie, as Doug the Thug Glatt. Liev Schreiber. Has he been on the show? Have we had a Liev Schreiber in a movie yet?
I don't think we have, no.
I'm sure he'll be back because he's been in so many films. He plays Ross the Boss Ray, another big goon type of a player in the league he's playing in. And then the other player in this, Marc-André Condé, as Xavier Laflamme, and he is the star of the team that Doug ends up on, that he's there to protect. And he ends up being a roommate. That was also a thing they would do in the minors, have them be roommates and that kind of stuff as well. That's very common. So they bond, just like they do in the film. Like they will, become friends, and then there's even more reason to protect him during the game. So it's all in there. Yeah.
And then off the rink, we have Jay Baruchel as Pat, who is a foul-mouthed, lewd hockey fan.
What number you want to wear?
69! Take the number 69! It's hilarious!
Is that never taken?
Is how I would describe him. Alison Pill as Eva, who is the love interest, and Kim Coates as Coach Ronnie Hortense. Is that how you would say that?
Yeah.
Who is the coach of the Halifax Highlanders.
And I love him. He is an amazing actor. He is he's Canadian. He's from Saskatchewan, which is right next door to my province. And I heard that recently he was in a series. I don't remember what it was called. I think we've talked about it, actually. The one with all the women in the town, the Old West.
Oh,
Godless, yes, he's the bad guy in that, and they shot that apparently in Saskatchewan, and he apparently insisted on staying with his mom, or his mom insisted that he stay with her while they were in Saskatchewan. Like she will not hear of anything else. He will not go to a hotel. He stays at home, and she makes him food. So that's very nice.
I love that a lot. I know him from Sons of Anarchy, and he has the most startling eyes.
Yes. Very intense.
Blackest of black hair and like the icy bluest of blue. It's an extraordinary look that he's got. Instantly recognizable, Kim Coates. Yeah. Okay, should we get on to Because plot?
Because plot, absolutely. So we meet Doug, of course, and we learn about his situation. And Doug Glatt is living an unfulfilling life working as a bouncer in a bar. I don't know which bar. I will know some of the locations in this film because I recognize them. And more than anything, this movie made me realize how many of these businesses are now shut down because of the pandemic or like they're not around anymore. I'm like, oh, I miss that place. But the bars are tough because a lot of Winnipeg bars look the same. So I'm not quite sure exactly what bar he's in, either at the beginning or later in the film, because a lot of the action happens in bars in this movie.
Drinking must admit, because you'd said to me that it was shot in Winnipeg, a lot of it was shot there. I still sort of made the assumption that the Massachusetts bits weren't shot there.
Oh,
Do you know why I thought that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you not just shoot it all in the same place? But yeah, so I was like, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, the whole thing.
because another part of this sequence in the opening is when we meet his family. So we see a sequence of him working at the bar, and he just takes out the garbage and has to deal with. It's funny. He's so nice. He's like the nicest bouncer ever. He's just such a nice guy. He's like, okay, come on, let's go. And he does his job. He does it well, and that's it. And then we meet his family. Eugene Levy plays his father, of course, and the Canadian legend Eugene Levy, and he is Jewish. So they're at this is a real Winnipeg synagogue that I've been to. And we meet his brother, who is gay, and his parents don't seem to be aware of it. It's very, or in denial about it or something. There's some weird
very deep denial.
That's right. And so this is all supposed to be in Massachusetts where he lives. Like he is in Massachusetts. His friend Pat also has a kind of online like website, Hot Ice, he calls it, or something like that, and a talk show. It looks like I guess you'd call it like a community. It's kind of like a Wayne's World situation where he's got this kind of community-based, show where he talks about hockey and takes callers and that does that kind of stuff. And so this is what happens. The situation they're in. He's hanging out with his friend. They go to a game, go see the Assassins. They really amp up the violence part of hockey in this. Like there's not a lot of teams with names like that, as far as assassins or like killers or anything like that. Usually they're named after animals. But so they go to a game, and I mean, this is so well done. They set all this up very, very quickly. We introduce all the characters. We introduce the brother who's gay. They go to the game. One of the players goes in the penalty box, and Pat starts beaking at him. That's what we call it, beacon, when you're like razzing the player in the box. And this is I've done this. This is a long standing tradition in hockey games where the opposing player is in the penalty box. If you're near him, you are getting in his head. You're trying to get him out. So he gets mad at Pat and uses a homophobic slur. I don't remember which one. I'm not going to repeat it. And then, but Doug does not like that. Doug gets upset, says, "Hey, my brother's gay. That's not nice at all." So Doug loses his temper. So we learn that Doug is very, very nice until he's not. And he just kicks his guy and headbutts his helmet. That's the shot in this movie, in this scene, where he just like, boom, and the helmet comes apart. There's another part where the other player punches him in the head, and he's like, actually, like he breaks his hand. So all of this impresses the coach of the Assassins, who is another, I know I'm blanking on his name, but he's another like Canadian acting legend. Many TV series this guy's been in, and he asks him to come in. He calls into the show and asks him to come in. This is as Pat is losing his show. He's getting the producer's so mad at him for swearing and everything else. He's like, all right, you're the last caller on this show. Let's see what this is about. And it's this guy calling in to offer Doug a tryout on the team because he wants an enforcer. He wants somebody to be there to defend his top players and just fight and be able to fight, basically.
Yeah. Because what I love is when we first go to the hockey match with Pan Doug, is the two goalkeepers.
Stop right there. It's not called a hockey match.
It's a game.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Sorry. I did write that down. I actually Googled it because I wanted to put it into our little, rundown. And I was like, is it a match or is it a game? So I did check. I'm annoyed with myself. They're at the hockey game. And no, I get annoyed by stuff like that when people talk about football. So that's fair enough. They have, and what you see on the ice is one of the goalkeepers is like just standing in front of his net. The other one is sitting on his arse, like just sitting on the ice. They're looking bored as anything. And then you see the center of the rink, and it's just pairs of players punching each other. So it's not like even an all-out brawl. It's quite organized. And then they put the guy in the penalty box, and he's not got his helmet on, and then he turns around to shout at the crowd, and he has his helmet on.
Oh no!
Beauty Anthony.
That's awesome.
The other thing I really liked in this segment was when they're at when they're at Temple, they find out that we have the reveal to us. I don't think his parents, but certainly that they don't want anyone to know about it, that he is gay. And then Doug isn't a doctor and isn't at an Ivy League school, and so the other people, the other family that they're talking to are like obviously unimpressed with him. And Eugene Levy just goes, "The record, they're both adopted," which I don't think either of them are, but that's very good. The tryout. We have the moment where we find out that not only can he not open the door to get on the ice, but then he can't skate. And it reminded me of a moment just last week in 911 Nashville where they were preparing for an ice hockey game on rollerblades, and one of the new guys came in, can't skate, so just fell over, but in doing so knocked one of the other players over, and they were like, "Perfect, you're our enforcer." And I did not know what that meant. Now I do.
There you go. He's got hockey tape all over his jersey. It's supposed to go on certain parts. Like he obviously doesn't know how to do any of this stuff. And the figure skates are it reminded me of a film called The Cutting Edge. You guys have you ever seen The Cutting Edge? In which it's about a hockey player. It's about the Olympics, actually. It's about a hockey player who becomes a figure skater, and he's trying to explain to his family and friends what he's doing, and they're like, finger painting? They don't understand what he's trying to do. Anyway, this is like a hockey player trying to wear figure skates. It's quite funny. And he was having
is he wearing the wrong kind of skates?
Oh yes. He walks out there. Doug is wearing white skates. Those are figure skates. Those are not hockey skates. Hockey skates are usually black. But that's the white is usually that's figure skates. That's pretty obvious.
I did not get that at all. Oh, that's really funny. And then when the assassins offer him a spot on the team, because he gets into a brawl with all of the team because one of the guys like steps up to him and he's like, "Well, you're rubbish and you can't skate, and what are you even doing here?" And the guy's like, and Doug's like, and then other people come in and he's like tripping him up and kicking him and doing all this sort of stuff. And and that impresses his future boss. And he says, "It's just too bad that those are your teammates that you just fucked up out there. Of course, on the bright side, it's your teammates you just fucked up out there," which I don't really get, but it was funny. And he offers him a spot on the team, and he's like, "Do you want a particular jersey number?" And Jay Baruchel and Pat's shouting from the sides because, of course, he's gone along for, moral support and to film it. And
Yes,
he just goes, "Take the number 69. It's hilarious."
Yeah, of course. So Doug does. Doug's a good friend. He'll do that for his friend, be number 69, and that's hilarious.
And one of the taglines I did see for the film was "Meet Doug, the nicest guy you'll ever fight." And I was like, that is so what this film is. He is adorable. He's a bit like Rocky, in that he's not the smartest. He's just awkward and nervous and so cute. Like, and then you get him to punch someone and he's kind of terrifying.
I love the way he says, "Oh no, thank you, I'm good." Like he just says, "Oh, thank you. Oh, so nice, thank you." Like he says thank you, but he always adds a little like line of something else in there to like just be nicer. And I think this is real character work for Sean William Scott. Like he is really like doing something here. It's not just Stifler being a jerk or whatever he is. I mean, Stifler's a real character too, I'm sure. But this is like he is actually trying here to create something different, and I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah, and I do like when we see like the montage of his work in the bar, you do see him like punching someone outside the bar because the bartender has been, the owner has been like, "You got to take this guy out," and he's punching him, and the bartender, the owner's like, "No, you got to do it again," and he's just like apologizing to the guy he's hitting, and that comes up again later. That sort of he will put himself in situations that are violent and possibly unnecessary because of how polite he is, and I think. I just think he's such a great character.
You're right. He's a lot like Rocky. I agree.
Okay. So after a training montage, which we know I love, he trains in both skating and fighting because Pat shows him videos of Ross the Boss Ray. Doug starts his career with the Assassins. He is so successful that he earns a transfer to ECHL team the Halifax Highlanders. During his debut, Doug gets his first opportunity to show his fighting skills, but in a later game, he messes up and loses it for the team. See? Game. I wrote down game. Very proud of myself. Doug meets Eva, then helps the team get their first win by playing some actual hockey. And by that, I mean standing in front of the goalkeeper.
Yes, and that is an important role as well. The enforcer can do that. If they're a big wall, I can't remember, they said they had a name for it. Wall of
he had to stay in the crease.
Yes,
was the thing that I kept.
By the way, the hockey commentator in this, once he gets to the Halifax Highlanders, we have this character, but I don't even know if we know his name during the film.
Well, that was borderline treasonous and a disgrace to our nation and its proud and storied history. My father didn't kick the Nazis, and the puck drops.
That is Kurt Kielbach. He is a long-running commentator from Winnipeg. A lot of the little roles in this were people from Winnipeg that they hired. The guy who was the news anchor during some of the parts where they show the news anchor on the screen, he's a disgraced radio DJ. He's now disgraced. He wasn't at the time, but I've been canceled. And then there's also the Trailer Park Boys. I don't know if you know who the Trailer Park Boys are. They're like a Canadian comedy, not troupe, but they have a successful series as well of their own. But they're not playing those characters here. They were the guys in the control room during Pat's show, and they're the ones going, Tim Hunt, like laughing at whatever's going on. That was those three guys are the Trailer Park Boys, but out of character, which you never see. They've only ever done.
The very first thing we see in the film is of course, Ross the Boss getting in a fight with another guy. Oh. And that guy he turns up again later, and isn't he, an enforcer?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players. I don't really watch hockey anymore, but I used to really be into the Edmonton Oilers, and he played for the Oilers as George Larac. He is one of the nicest hockey players you'll ever meet. Like he is himself in this. Like he is just a nice guy who also can fight, and that was his role in when he played hockey. So yeah, I loved seeing George Larac in this movie. He's awesome.
Yeah. And then the other thing I read was the guy who plays on the Halifax Highlanders, there's a guy who's studying to become a doctor. Mm-hmm. And he was like a former ice hockey player. Like what league he ever played in or what level he ever got to, I don't know. But he was like the best hockey player that they had in the cast. So apparently when you see players on the ice playing for the Highlanders, working the puck and stuff, it's him. They just put him in everyone else's jersey.
That's good. A friend of a friend played the backup goalie who's in a lot of scenes. He doesn't really do much. He's just like, he's on the bench and he's just he's right beside the Russian guys when those Russian guys are giving them a hard time and stuff, and he just kind of sits there. So I think that was fun. I know who he is. He's also kind of a stand-up comedian here. And this is so during this time he meets, I love it. Okay, and this is what they do in this movie. They show Halifax, boom, population, and they show one shot of Halifax, and then it's back to Winnipeg because everything else that is back in Winnipeg. I recognize the exterior of that bar where they are. I think the interior is different somehow, but this is where he meets Eva. And she is like, I watched this with my girlfriend, and she said at some point during this film that I wish that a female had taken a look at this script just to give her some realistic things to say, because a lot of what she says sounds like a guy wrote it. Like, yeah, that's fair. It's a weird character. She's like very conflicted. She seems to think that she's a slut and that she like sleeps around, or she goes on and on about how much she likes hockey, guys who play hockey. But then her boyfriend, when it turns out we learned that she has a boyfriend, is not a hockey player. He does not look like one anyway. He looks like a regular guy.
He's in like finance or something.
Yeah, so it was a very weird character. Like, she's awesome. Alison Pill is great. She's great in this, but I thought that there are some things about her character that didn't really ring true for me.
I liked this a lot because she's so different from, I'm currently watching The Newsroom, and she's so different from her character in The Newsroom. So that was really fun. But yeah, the main things I wrote down about this particular segment that we're discussing, when we see Doug quit his bar job it is the most Doug way to quit. He takes his security t-shirt and he throws it on the bar, and then he straightens it out before he leaves. He's like, boom. Sorry. But then he leaves. I was watching it and I was like, he's the most Canadian guy in this. He's so polite. And that's how we all think of Canadians.
Okay.
I love that he got the drawing of Loopy the wolf from his coach at the Assassins. That was adorable. And also, I'm pretty sure Lupe is a word in a language for wolf. So calling it Loopy the wolf, it was very nice. When we meet the Halifax team members and we meet the goalie and we meet the Russians, I assumed that the Russians had put the pictures of his mother on his helmet as like a gag. And I thought that for a long time until I really looked at him in the goal and I was like, oh no, I think he put those there.
Yes, that's what
That
they do.
goalkeeper is very attached to his mother, and it's, you know, I'm sure it's very sweet, but it took me a long time to realize that they haven't done that.
Hockey goalies are a little bit crazy. You kind of have to be to sit there, even with all that padding, and let them shoot pucks at you at like however many miles per hour. Those things come flying at you. So you got to be a little bit crazy to do that. They always depict goalies in these movies with a little bit of, like, there's one called the classic movie Slapshot with Paul Newman. That's like one of the best hockey movies of all time. And the goalie in that one is really kind of crazy. This guy reminds me a lot of him. This thing about the Percocets. I love the callback to that later on. He's like, first, question one, don't touch my Percocets. And number two, do you have any Percocets? And then later on, when Doug gets painkillers for his injuries that he gets and whatever, he's like, I'm high on painkillers, and he's like, hey, pass the Dutchie. He's like, yeah, I got some for you, save some for you. Like, he's again so nice. He knows his friend likes Percocets, so he saved them for his friends, the goal.
Yeah. The other thing, there's a quote where we hear someone saying, give it 121% tonight, and I was just like, is that a reference to something? Because it's funny because you can't give more than 100%, so it's a ridiculous thing to say, but it's so specific. 121%.
I think that's a making out of sports cliches. Like a lot of sports people say 110% just to say they're giving it
110, 150. Yeah, but like 121 seemed like whether it was an inside joke on the set or whatever, but because I couldn't find anything in the trivia. Doug won't walk over the logo in the dressing room on the floor. He's the only person when we first see it who won't walk over the logo because he's respectful. You see him looking at it after everyone else has walked over it and just making the decision not to walk over it. And then the other thing that happens is, because it's the beginning of the game, somebody sings the national anthem. I thought that only happened in America, I must admit. What the fuck is that about? We don't do that over here. My football team is Stoke City, and I go to watch Stoke City, and I have, we never sing the national anthem. Like the FA Cup final, that's the only time I ever heard, the national anthem before a match. Why? Why on earth, for a local team game, are people singing the national anthem? It's so weird to me.
Well, I think it's in an effort to emulate the big leagues, because they do that on the NHL, National Hockey League level, which is the highest level of hockey. That is absolutely something they do. They will play, if it's both Canadian teams, they'll just play the Canadian national anthem. But if it's one Canadian and one American, they'll play both, and it can go on for a while.
And it's not an international match. Like, I've been to like England football games, and so we play the national anthem there because it's the national team.
Yes,
but it's like
the Olympics,
like Stoke City represents Stoke, the city. It doesn't have to also represent the entire nation.
Yeah, that's just the way it worked out, and they still do that. The joke here is that the woman is not a very good singer. She's awful. She thinks she feels it. She's very, very enthusiastic about it, and it is kind of a tradition here. Like, some teams have and they all do it differently now. Of course, some teams have a band now that actually sing like a band, like a full guitar and everything, drums. Some of them get like a children's choir to come out and sing the national anthem. Sometimes it's all kinds of different things, right?
Yeah, because you have to find someone every other week to sing the national anthem. And when she's really bad at it, in one of my favorite moments was the commentator saying, "Well, that was borderline treasonous."
I love that. Love Kirk. He's awesome.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Okay, and then
Glad
before
we
we
don't
go
do
into the
this.
next session, I just want to mention in this part where he meets Eva, and then they have this nice moment where he walks her home, and that scene is it's a very familiar neighborhood to me. And that's they're coming from, you can see in the background of that shot, a pizza place called Slices. It is still there. This is one of 3 businesses I'll mention in this episode. Slices Pizza is still there because they serve like really good cheap pizza. It's like the go-to place. Like I get what happened in that scenario. We were talking about this, like maybe they're at the Palomino because the Palomino's down the street from Slices. Like, they didn't actually go out in Winnipeg here. They're filming these things in different places. But logically, they could have gone from the Palomino Club to Slices and then down that street where they were walking as they start talking about, whatever.
This is me.
Okay. I like Eva.
You do, eh?
Yes, ma'am.
Eva likes Doug. Eva likes you.
What does Eva think about kissing?
Which type?
French?
She's very reluctant to do anything. She's feeling guilty, obviously, because she has a boyfriend who's away or something like that. And he just really likes her. Like, he's so sweet in this. He doesn't want to come in and try to have sex with her. He's not like Rocky. Rocky was very pushy, remember? So he doesn't push himself on her like Rocky does. He was just like, just want to make sure you get to your door okay, and that's it. So that was a very nice moment, I thought.
Yeah, he says to her, "Why don't you give me your number and I promise I'll never call?"
That was cute. And I gotta say, a lot of phone, like this movie was made at a time when we were transitioning between the flip phones and then the iPhones, and she's got an iPhone and he's got like a little flip phone kind of thing, and it's very cute the way he keeps checking for her.
Yeah. Okay, you'll go.
On to family dinner. Doug's family and Pat come to a game in which Doug scores a surprising goal off his ass, which really happens. It's something that quite often happens in hockey games. Doug argues with his parents about his career choice. No, this is the second business I'll bring up because they show the sign, C. Colecus, right there. And that is again, not around anymore. I believe it closed during the pandemic, but it was a long running like Greek restaurant in the city, and I used to go there not all the time, but fairly often. I mean, it was around since I was a kid, so we would just go there every time we felt like having Greek food. And in this case, they've kind of got this character of the owner. He's not Greek, I don't think, but he's somewhere from some other part of the world. They serve donaires. That's like the main thing, and he's so excited to have Doug in his restaurant that he says free donaires for everybody. They immediately backs off of that, says donaire sauce, and then he goes, let's water down the donaire sauce, like the three cheap how cheap this guy is being a business owner, but it's still funny. But his parents are not happy. Like, I was like, again, this is weird because there's a little bit of, I think, Eugene Levy, like this is before Schitt's Creek, but I think he is kind of channeling a little bit of that character in this. He's embarrassed by all this. Both parents are embarrassed by all this. They don't like that he is fighting or being violent and that their name is on his shirt, and he is proud of it. He is like, I am part of a team now. He's found a purpose here. I'm stupid. You have a gay son and a stupid son. How does he say it? I can't remember. It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, first of all, he says, I'm stupid. And the brother, who is a doctor, goes, you're not that stupid. You're not really helping.
Yeah. And basically he probably says to his parents for the first time that his brother is gay, like, and just telling them that, making them realize that. And then they just leave, like they get upset and they leave. And then the brother goes with them because they have his passport.
Yeah.
So,
but we will say the brother does come back later. The parents don't, but the brother does.
Yeah, we never do resolve the thing with the parents. That's the last we see of them in this. The brother keeps coming back throughout as they progress, and he keeps coming for the playoff games and stuff. But yeah, we never see his parents again. I guess they never forgave him.
No.
Okay, during the Highlanders game in Quebec, Doug loses his man who concusses La Flamme. Oh yes.
that right? Sorry.
Yeah, and he messes up, right? He misses his guy, and he kind of does it on purpose. Like, this is a moment where he has doubt. He's been conflicting. We haven't really talked about the conflict he's had with his roommate, the Flamme, the star of the team, who is the whole reason he's going to the Highlanders. Is the Flamme's fallen off his game. He's just out of it. He doesn't care anymore. He is a pro player who has been sent down to play in the minors. So La Flamme has been relegated.
And why has he lost the faith in his game? Do you remember why?
I don't remember.
Because Ross, the boss Ray, charged him and gave him a grade 3 concussion, like a really bad concussion, when he was in the big leagues. And since then, he's like ducked out of every challenge.
He's too nervous.
So he's just absolutely terrified on the ice. So his main team, his major league team, sent him down to the Halifax Highlanders. And yes, Doug is sort of brought on to protect La Flamme. And they live together. And La Flamme is just... He's not committed to the team in the same way that Doug is he? And they have this conversation where he's like, why are you nice to these guys? Or why do you do the thing that you do? You know, why do you protect them? And he goes, well, because they're nice guys and, you know, that's my job. And he goes, I give you a month before you sort of change your mind. Like, La Flamme is like, these guys don't give a shit about you. But in a month, you won't give a shit about them either. But he could not be more wrong. Doug's only going to care more and more and more.
Yeah. But there is a moment where they keep clashing over time. And I think this part comes after he clashes with Pat. Because after the thing at the restaurant, the parents leave, Pat ends up back at the apartment and he's fighting with La Flamme when Doug comes in, right? And so they're going at it. And so Doug just says,
having a spitting fight, which is so gross.
That was disgusting. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And then and Pat ends up spitting on Doug.
Yes, and then La Flamme hits him, I think.
Yeah.
So La Flamme like punched Doug, and that's the first time we've seen.
Yeah.
So,
I think this is right around the time. So he concusses La Flamme as well, and because he hesitated because he was like pissed off at him, and he basically let his own personal feelings get in the way of his job, which is to protect him, right? So he doesn't like that happened here, and he gets a 1-game suspension for this fight. Because he just kind of drops this guy. It wasn't really a fight, it's a drop. And just to kind of clarify, you do have to, the whole dropping of the gloves thing is kind of the signal, right? And we see later on, we see Ross fake him out with that. But generally, when you go to flip off your gloves, that means you're going to fight, because you don't fight with your gloves, you fight barefisted. That's the rule. Now, is this where he has coffee with Eva again in this section?
Yes. Wait. This is where he thinks of calling Eva. At the beginning of this is when they have the date, not date, as I called it. And then later on we do see more of Eva again. He calls her when her boyfriend is home.
She texted him, but this is when they've gone out afterwards, and she's trying to explain to him why she can't. Like, just when she tells him basically that she has a boyfriend, but they go out for coffee in one of my favorite coffee shops. Is no longer around, The Fix. And this whole section was shot right where I work, right down the street from my work. I walk by here all the time. It's called the Exchange District. It's a beautiful part of Winnipeg. And so every time I see this part of the movie, I'm like, oh, I used to go there for coffee all the time. And it was like the first, like, there are plenty of coffee shops now that do the exact same, whatever vibe they're going for with the music and this looks like that, right? But it was the first place in Winnipeg that was like that. It kind of was like the first real like coffee shop I went to, and I miss that place. There's nothing there now. It's just empty.
Out of interest, has garbage ever flown into your face there?
No, that's never happened to me. That was so funny. And then when he tells that story, oh man, about the human waste and the big.
It's not the first time that wind blew garbage in my face. One time, my friends built this bike ramp behind the medical center. It was really windy that day, so I started pedaling really fast. And as I was going up the ramp, wind blew like these bloody rags like right into my face, and I crashed into the dumpster, and I started like rolling around into like the medical waste because I was so disoriented. I broke my ankle like in 3 places, and the worst part is there's this big bag of pee, and I rolled over on it, and it like burst all over me.
Oh, it's so gross, but hilarious.
And she's so into it. Like, she's, she finds it so fun. I would just be like, oh, yeah, I don't know. Get out of my car. But yeah, she's really into him. And when they have their date, not date, where, they meet up and she's basically just saying, we can't do this. And he's like, oh, well, it would be a real pity then if I brought flowers and chocolates and a teddy bear. And he's like, oh, all these gifts for her. He's just so sweet.
Yeah, he's adorable. And the teddy bear is actually the mascot. It's the Highlanders mascot, which is a Scottish man in a kilt because he's a Highlander. So that's hilarious. He's like,
and he keeps telling her, it's official merchandising. And there's a point when they're on the phone and she goes, sometimes I sleep with that doll. And he's like, well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's official merchandising. Like, don't feel bad. It's not a kid's teddy bear. It's official merchandising. Yeah. That's really important to him that she knows that. Yeah.
Now, he gets suspended for one game, which means he doesn't play against Ross Ray, who is also he's also been busted down to the ECHL. Probably, I think it's because of that hit from earlier in the movie, right? At the very beginning, we see the hit. He gets suspended for however many games and then busted down to the ECHL, which is like the lower tier hockey league.
Yeah, he hits someone on the back of the head with his hockey stick, which to me seems like it wouldn't really hurt, but apparently that can cause a lot of problems. I was reading about it, and lots of people have had terrible injuries from that. And so that we see that at the beginning of the film, and he gets like a 20-game ban or something, and like a $50,000 fine, or and so he does like a press conference, and then he gets moved down to what's the team, the Shamrocks that he's playing for. Yes, yeah.
So they just name it. No, they don't name it after. They name it after like nationalities. Like they got an Irish team and a Scottish team, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's because it's Atlantic Canada. There's a lot of Irish and Scottish settlers in that part of the country for sure.
We see again the team exiting the dressing room, and everyone now avoids the logo except for Le Flamme. So it's very it's obviously like he's made them a team. Doug has made them a team, but still Le Flamme is stubbornly refusing to be involved. He thinks he's much better than them, which he is, but he can't prove it because he's still so scared on the ice,
Mm-hmm.
A little complaint. I was watching this with subtitles, as I often do. Why? I had this complaint about a TV show a while ago about the Sex Pistols. Why does every pop song get the name of the pop song and then the lyrics come up, in the subtitles? And then they have a piece of classical music and they say, man sings operatically. No, that's Nessun Dorma. It has a name. It has lyrics. It's a technical piece of music with a title, just like a pop song is. Why is it always classical music is just not acknowledged in the same way? And
I have a guess.
Upsets me.
I'm sorry to hear that. I have a guess as to why that happens. Because the people who wrote that music are dead and there's nobody around to care about it and fight for the rights to it, right? So
well, if it's the case of you have to acknowledge it for the rights.
That's why. Because I noticed that for his TV shows, it'll say the full name of the song and all the lyrics will be correct. If it's a song from recent years, something recently, it'll tell me what it is. And I think that's because that's something they have to do for the rights to the song.
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether you have to do that in the subtitles, because later on they're on the team bus and there is what sounds like a relatively recent piece of pop music playing. It is foreign. I don't know where it's from, but it's not being sung in English. And the subtitles just said country style music playing, man singing in foreign language. And again, I just like, what if you're watching this and you want to know what the song is? That's why I like the fact that they have the song titles in the subtitles. I used to put on subtitles just to find out what songs are. Is it so outside of their imagination that someone would want to find out what Nessun Dorma is? Or do they think that everyone just knows that Nessun Dorma is Nessun Dorma?
I mean, maybe they.
It drives me mad as someone who, studied classical music and, was in choirs and has sung operettas and done all that sort of stuff. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Just tell us what the songs are. They're still songs. You can still name them.
They just assume everybody's using Shazam. That's all they.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing is, yes, Doug scores a goal with his arse. I read about where that had happened in hockey, but can I tell you, that once happened for Stoke City.
Ooh.
In 2002, we were in a playoff semi-final against Cardiff. It was the most brilliant night. It went into extra time. The way it went into extra time was already brilliant, but I won't bore you with the story. But it went into extra time. And the winning goal was scored by a gentleman called Suleiman Olari, and it went in off his arse. And it's the only goal he ever scored for us.
That's awesome.
And it put us into the playoff final, and we got promoted in the playoff final. And it's one of the greatest things that's ever happened in Stoke City's history. And I just, so as soon as that happened, I was like, oh my God, I get to tell Dan about Suleiman Olari. So yeah, that's that. I do like it when players score with their arse. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is this is back when now that they're they've kind of resolved their issues, like Xavier is their friends. I don't remember how do they resolve that?
No, because they haven't resolved their problems, because this is the point when he scores that goal with his arse. That's when
he on the power play. That's right. Okay, so do you know what a power play is?
No.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons why La Flamme is so mad, is because he is the shooter. He should be on the power play. The power play is what happens when one guy's in the penalty box, the other team has a one-man advantage. So the one team has only 4 players in the ice, the other team has 5 players. So you have an advantage. So they call it a power play. And so they usually go into this defensive. The defending team usually has this defensive posture. They have a set play. And then the offensive team, they basically go in the offensive. They're in the zone the whole time. And they usually have time to pass it around and set up things. And so Doug in that situation just gets in front of the net, block the net. And sometimes, like if he was more skilled, he might be there to like tip it in. Like if he gets a stick down on the ice, you could do that. That's quite a common move. But he's just sitting there. And I don't know when this happens. I'm just going to talk about it now. There's a point at which there's somebody just brings him over to where he's got to be. He just gets skated over. They know he can't skate. I think it's that kid. It's the kid who kind of idolizes the captain of the team. He just kind of brings them over to where he's supposed to be. Here you go. And then
I think that's when he's blocking the goalie the first time. They're like, you're going to play some outdoor hockey. And so he gets on the ice and he's like, I don't know where to stand. And so one of them goes, you stand here.
That's right. So that's awesome. Yeah.
And so when he does that, when he scores, that's the match when the coach.
Excuse me. It's
the coach.
Game. It's the game, not the match.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. When he scores in the game, that's the game when the coach takes the assistant captain's seat off.
Oh yes.
La Flamme and gives it to Doug, which is ridiculous. But I mean, morale-wise, you should probably be the captain. But because the captain, we haven't talked about him, but the captain is going through things. He's experiencing a divorce, and he's a drunk, and every speech he does to the team involves a discussion of his divorce.
All right, boys, listen up. We're still in this thing. We just need a quick one. Listen up, Cash! We gotta work harder than them, okay? Get harder than them, guys. You know what's hard work? Going through a divorce. She's trying to get all my money now. She can have half of it. I don't give a shit. The other half, hard work, mine. Some guys on their team are fucking divorced. 3 guys there whose fucking marriages are in the fucking toilet.
We're playing divorced guys.
Yeah. We gotta be fucking triceps, biceps, arceps, hard.
Hard?
Greek fucking underground gay porn hard.
You're all Adonises.
Highlanders, gay porn hard. Gay porn hard!
Basically, this whole thing has been set up that it's Ross against Doug. It's going to be Ross against Doug. And these two don't meet until 2/3 of the way through the film, which is brilliant. They meet in a bar at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's after Doug's been sent off. He's got his one match 1 game suspension. Sorry, his 1 game suspension. And so they know they're not going to be facing off against each other, and they meet in a bar and accidentally they chat. He uses Doug's words in his speech because he's making like a retirement speech before the game. Yeah. And he basically uses everything that Doug had said to him in the bar the night before. Because Doug's a sincere person and Ross is not. So he goes home from the bar, and that is when we get the E.T. conversation. So Doug goes back and lies down on his bed and like bangs on the wall because LeFlame's just on his bed over there. And so they talk, and Doug gives him this speech about how they have this light in their stomachs, like E.T., and their lights connect to each other, and he'll never let him down again, and he's got his back because, you know, I'm Elliot and you're E.T., and our stomachs connect to each other. And it's so fantastically weird. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So after Doug saves a game in the most painful way, which we will discuss, the Highlanders make the playoffs, where they will face Ross's team, the St. John's Shamrocks, and that's where we get the showdown. So, yeah, Doug does something in this segment which had me genuinely howling with laughter. Like, I had to tell my mum about it. It was so funny when she was around the other day. I had to describe the whole thing to her. It's when LeFlame gets minorly hurt. He's not terribly hurt, but he gets knocked by a player. And this is after the E.T. speech, and Doug is not going to let this shit happen again. And he grabs the guy by the front of his shirt, and then using that hand, this hand isn't doing anything, with the front of this guy, he just repeatedly punches him in the face whilst holding severe eye contact with LeFlame. It's like going, look what I'm doing for you. And it was so brilliant. It was just one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I just adored it. It was so Doug. Like, I'm not letting you down again, and you're going to watch me beat this man for you. I adored that. That was so great. Yeah. The way he saves the match is that he ends up falling over on the goal. A game. I'm so sorry. The way he saves the game is that he ends up falling over because the goalkeeper has like left the net. You know, he falls over on the goal line. He sort of plunks himself down because he's trying to protect the goal. And he ends up, the puck comes at him, gets him in the mouth. You see all the blood spurting. This film enjoys its, spurting blood and stuff. The blood comes gushing out of his mouth, and he ends up lying on his side. And the puck is sort of here. And they're just bashing him with their sticks, trying to get the puck into the goal. In the bar later, when he's high on the pain medication, somebody says, Dougie took one to the face. And I said out loud, Doug took several to the face.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we should downplay how many he took to the face.
And I noticed he doesn't have a visor, which is very common for enforcers. Hockey, I don't know how it is now, but back then it was kind of there's a grandfather, and there was a point in which hockey players did not have to wear helmets, and then they grandfathered it in. So when I was a kid, there were players who did not wear helmets, who just would skate around the ice with nothing on their heads, which is really weird. And now, and then it became like, okay, so a lot of them have visors because to protect your eyes from the puck, right? And that's kind of like an important area to protect. I guess they figure they can always fix up the teeth. But he does not have a visor or anything, and he gets and it's the team is down by 1 goal rather, and they basically have to try and jam the net. Like, that's a very common strategy, to just go at the net and try shove it in there to get the goal to force overtime. And they do not do that. He manages to save it. Oh man, that's rough. And shout out to Doug Morrow, Winnipeg special effects artist, who did all the blood and stuff in this. I've met him as a super nice guy, and the work in the special effects work, as far as that kind of stuff goes, just is perfect. I love the shot of the tooth falling, like that shot. You know what I mean? That's such a great.
Yeah, and the makeup work is really good. Yeah, just that whole side of it is very well done. What I did notice, again, because I had subtitles on, is when you see someone stand on his ankle with their blade, and in the subtitles it said, bones breaking, like sound of bones breaking. But he doesn't miss any games. So I think they're slightly wrong there. I don't think anything broke. We see for the first time Le Flamme walk around the logo. That happens for the first time in this section. And also we see when he has his showdown with Ross, we see the same it's the opening shot. So the blood dripping on and then the tooth falling down. And in fact, the line, "I think I nailed him," which is the final line of the film, is also one of the opening lines of the film. So again, it's a bit like the one we watched last time. No, the other one, Miss Sloane.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not in the same place, but she opens it and she closes it with the same sort of thing. And this is the exact moment, of his fight. I think we haven't discussed the guy, one of your favorite players. What did you say his name was? Who was the enforcer? The black guy was in the front.
George Larac.
Sorry? Okay.
George Larac, yeah.
We see him fight Doug at some point, and that is one of these fights that I don't understand because it doesn't come from anywhere. They're just standing next to each other, and he goes, "Do you want to go?" And he's like, "Fuck yeah, I want to go." So they just fling their gloves on the floor, and I think it's at the very beginning of the game. So I think they drop the puck, they drop their gloves, and they start punching each other, and then they're like, because he goes, "Good luck," and he goes, "Good luck to you," and then they punch each other. They can't, neither of them win, so the referees separate them, and they both go like, good fight, man, good fight. And apparently that's something that he did. They mic'd him up in a match or something, and he had that exact sort of encounter where he was like, "Good luck," and then like, "Good fight." What's wrong with these people?
Okay, so the purpose of that, I'll explain that a little bit. That is that at the beginning of a game, it's like it's all about the psychology of it. You're doing it to get your team hyped up. So it's like a little mini battle in the wider battle of a wider war rather of the game. So they basically if this is, it depends on the team. It depends if they've got maybe there's bad blood between these teams, these players, they don't like them. If they've also got a big enforcer who's known to fight, like George Larac was one of those guys. He's one of the guys I talked about in this movie. That's all he did. I mean, he scored goals. I was always so excited when these guys scored goals because it's just and they've often scored off their ass and stuff like that, but they're not great goals. But it's always exciting. And that is at the beginning of the game. You want to get the crowd going. If you're the home team, you want to get everyone hyped up, and so just fight. And then even if they don't win, like that one was pretty close to a draw, which is quite common. They're still everyone's hyped up and ready for the game, so it gets everyone energized. That's the reason.
So funny because whenever they start fighting in a football match, I just go, "Oh God. Oh, why are you doing this? It's so embarrassing."
Well, that's so in hockey, they have a part. You can have that outlet, right? Like the aggression builds that's what in football, I'm sure it builds as well because you're getting worked up about the game, and then there's no outlet for it. It'd be good if they allowed fighting in football. I think that's a great idea.
But I think it's so funny, just the idea of if that happened in football, of just they're just they're lined up for the kickoff, and the ref blows his whistle, and then the one person just decks the other person.
Hey, want to go? Yeah, okay. Good luck, man. Good luck to you too, bud.
The puck drops, and yes, we are going to have a dust. Punch for punch, neither giving an inch, both still on their feet. Right, left, both going at it, both landing blows to the head, to the body, everywhere.
Oh, God. Good fight, man.
Good fight. He's a nice guy.
The other thing in football is we don't get timeouts. You don't get a 4-minute penalty. You're gone.
Oh, okay.
For the rest of the match, you get a red card and you are off for the rest of the match, and other matches after that, depending on how severe your infraction was. So you can't get away with it. You can't do stuff like that. But it's so foreign to me. It's so funny.
Yeah, 5 for fighting is the penalty, and they get offsetting penalties, so they're both in the box. It doesn't really affect the game because you're allowed to have 5 players on the ice. They just are not allowed to be on the ice for 5 minutes after the fight. Those 2 players.
Yeah, And they watch, don't they? They watch on their like scoreboard. They each get a countdown, and then they sit in the penalty box talking to each other, going, "When we get out of here, should we just fight again?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then they skate out. The doors open. They skate out. They drop their gloves and they punch.
Yeah, it's all very true to life. Very good, very realistic portrayal of hockey here. What do you think?
What a fantastically weird game. Yeah, and so basically we just get the big climax is the fight between Ross and Doug, which Doug wins. You absolutely do not. He comes from behind. You think he's done, and the refs are coming in, and Ross is like, he's not done. And the refs back off, and again, that would never happen. That would never happen.
No, that part generally doesn't happen. When the one player drops, that's the end of the fight most of the time. But because Ross, and this is like Ross's last game or something like that, or whatever, they're retiring his jersey. They made a big deal out of him. He's got so much respect. He's like, okay, they'll back off, and they let him get up. But at that moment, like Ross would have won the fight. But because he respects Doug so much, he lets him get up for a second chance. And by the way, that's when his ankle snaps. Is in that moment. Not before, but I guess that was just weakening his ankle, and then now we see it like actually bend the wrong way, and we hear a snap sound effect, and that's not.
Yeah. So he wins it with a broken ankle, and then that, like, he's taken off, as is Ross, and he goes to the changing rooms with Eva. And they're sitting in the changing room together, and we see like the rest of the game play out. And he inspires Laflamme, and Laflamme gets a natural hat trick, which I learnt about. And a natural hat trick is when he scores 3 goals in a row with no interruptions. So we have like a special kind of hat trick in football. I can't remember the technical name, where you get one with your right foot, one with your left foot, and one with your head.
Oh, that's fun.
And that's a particularly special kind of hat trick. But a natural hat trick in hockey, I understand, is if you get boom, 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 and nobody interrupts you with another goal at the other end.
Yeah, there's also the Gordie Howe hat trick, which is a fight, a penalty, and a goal in all game. So yeah, one of each of those things. That's a Gordie Howe hat trick. He was a very good hockey player back in the day. Known for his fighting and his goal. He's a very good goal scorer as well. So that is
it's something that Ross says. He says to Doug, don't go trying to be a hockey player. Like, that's not your job. Your job is to be the enforcer. But then funnily enough, when they meet, I think it's in the playoff when they meet at the end, he scores a goal. Ross does. So he is obviously capable of doing both.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of these guys are, right. I think it was good advice, I think, coming from him, because he thinks of himself as a younger player, and he probably did try to be a hockey player back then, right? There is a point at which you have to kind of accept your role as an enforcer and realize you're never going to be up on the first line. You're never going to be the guy getting lots of minutes. At one point, Laflamme gets upset because of his minutes. That means how much of the game you're playing. And the more minutes you play, the better. Everyone wants to play lots of minutes. And so Laflamme is upset because he's not getting any minutes. And there's also this point at which you can see the motivation. This is the other reason for the enforcer. Laflamme, there's a point in this game where he's like, I'm going to score a goal right now for you. Boom. And he goes and does it. And that's like the thing where he just kind of can visualize the success and then just go and do it. That's kind of thing that happens in hockey. And they get this motivation from each other, right? So
yeah. So by the end of it, Doug has inspired Laflamme to get back to his top-notch hockey playing abilities.
Yeah.
And the very last thing we see is Doug and Eva in the dressing room, and he says, "I think I nailed him." And then we get the end credits, which includes actual footage of Douglas Smith, who wrote the book, punching people on the ice.
Yeah, and
doing an interview, which is very smart, because he says, I can't really see out of one eye. It's after a fight, and they say, "Are you gonna go on? Are you gonna play the next match?" And he's like, "Well, not if I still can't see. I mean, like, I've got to be smart. I've got to look after my own health as well." And I was like, yes, you do. So, yeah, that was cool.
Now, this was like, I don't know how much this is a thing anymore. I don't watch hockey as much as I used to. I can't remember the last time I went to a game, and if there was a fight, people still enjoy the fighting aspect of the game. I don't think they'll ever get rid of it, but I don't think it's as common as it once was, because people have been seriously hurt doing this. Like, this part of the game is controversial. People don't always love it. Like, they don't allow kids to fight at lower level of hockey. Like our children all play hockey at a young age. They only allow them to start fighting once they become 18. But it's still so interesting to me that this is such a thing in this sport. I don't know. It makes it feel special to me for some reason. It's weird.
It's just absolutely. It's as foreign to me as the idea of singing the national anthem before a local game. Like, it's a very. But I did, and because like I don't know anything about hockey, every new hockey story I come across is a joy, because it really is such a foreign way of playing a sport to me. Because we, like in football, you play home and away, each team home and away, and then in hockey you play, like, some teams you play twice home and away, and some teams you play once, and the playoffs doesn't mean the same thing as the playoffs we have, and nobody's getting promoted, and I don't understand any of it, but everything I find out about it seems to be bizarre and delightful.
Well, I feel the same way about football, honestly. The way you guys do the relegation thing and the teams that can go up and down. Like, I have watched Ted Lasso, so I am a little bit more familiar with it because of that. But it always, and I learned about it years and years ago. I had a friend who moved here from Manchester, and he was trying to educate me back in the 90s about this. And I was like, what are you talking about? But what's interesting is that they're both very, very popular sports in their own right. And they have a very interesting and, I think, sustainable system as far as, like, the fans like it, the teams. I don't know how you feel. Like, here it's like, as long as all the teams have a good chance to, like, earn their way to the playoffs, it's doing well. And I think that does exist.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's an interesting situation. I'm not a big sports guy in general, though. I will say that. I'm more excited, like, when our local hockey team makes the playoffs. That is exciting, and the whole city gets worked up about it. We have like a thing where we do the white out, so everybody wears white in the crowd, and then we all flood to the streets and fill the city streets with people, and then get drunk, and then the team gets knocked out after, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks, and that's it. So things go back to normal after.
What is the name of your local team?
The Winnipeg Jets.
Oh, you see, they're not even. It's not even alliteration. What's the point?
Oh, we'll get
Halifax Highlanders and the Sundown Shamrocks. I'm enjoying those. I know the Orange Town Assassins aren't, but they're the Jets. Is there another team called the Sharks?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And before they play each other, do they play the score of West Side Story? Because that's
that's a great idea. I should send that in as a suggestion. Maybe they must have done it at some point. They have to. The Sharks
must have. They should play the dance at the gym before they come out.
I actually remember going to see the San Jose Sharks when I was a kid, and one of the hockey games, one of the first times I saw them play, because they were a new team at the time, and I don't remember them making their jokes. So
yeah, that's the other thing. Like, in Heated Rivalry, they go. There's one point where they're discussing, like, where are you playing next? And he goes, oh, we're going over to, like, Florida, and I'm like, Florida has an ice hockey team?
Yeah,
it's completely bizarre.
No, it is Florida, Arizona, a lot of these southern states where there's no ice, they will have hockey teams in it, because there's a lot of Canadian retirees in those states. A lot of Canadians will move down there when they retire, and they love hockey still. And in fact, Florida teams have won the Stanley Cup for the last couple of years, which everyone hates, of course, but they have the best teams. They have the most money, and they can put together great teams. So anyway.
Yeah, those were my general feelings. And I would give it, well, I did give it a 3.5 on Letterboxd.
I would give it a 4.5, only because it's shot here, and it's like, again, it's my hometown. I look at this movie and I think of my hometown. This time around, I was thinking about all the places that I can't go to anymore, but maybe I'll take a walk by those places and see what's there instead.
Yeah.
But it's still great. It also encapsulates the time of year, like 2011 was, I was also a dad, starting to become a dad, and it just kind of, it's a nice little touch point in my life, this film.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. I just thought Jay Baruchel's character was a bit too much for me.
Yeah, fair enough. And I don't know, I actually haven't seen the sequels. I don't know how much he directed the sequel. It was not shot in Winnipeg, so I don't like it. I'm not as interested in it. But I also heard it was not very good. I just heard it was a subpar sequel, so I just decided not to watch it.
Do you mean like when we decided not to watch Backdraft 2?
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, never mind. I hope that you're not going to suggest we watch Goon 2 now. But
yeah, I'm gonna
next?
Yeah, Goon 2. No, this film it gave me a great opportunity because Eugene Levy is in this film. And who did Eugene Levy work with an awful lot? Who we just lost? Catherine O'Hara. So I would love next week. One of the ones I've wanted to see for forever and have never got round to is Best in Show. Because I love dogs. So please can we watch Best in Show next week?
Of course we can watch Best in Show. It is a phenomenal film. I have seen it. I think I watched it couple of years ago recently. This is somewhat recently, I guess. And Catherine O'Hara, everyone is amazing in it, but I'm not even gonna spoil it. There's a hidden star in this one that I just love.
I think the person I always think of being in this film is Jane Lynch.
She's great, yes.
Which is very exciting.
And honestly, but there's just anyway, we'll get into it. It's just got such a great. They did a number of these ones with Christopher Guest from A Few Good Men, so that'll be a repeat visit from Christopher Guest to our show. But it's a really great ensemble. It's one of those ones. It's very much like Schitt's Creek in that it was all improvised dialogue. So it was largely like they have their characters and their kind of situations and all this stuff. Here's what we're gonna do, and then they would just go and improvise the dialogue in these situations. So the whole movie is like that, which is a lot.
I have a little Christopher Guest story, and in fact, Catherine O'Hara. The first time I ever went to a film at the London Film Festival, I had no idea. I just, thought it was an opportunity to see films like before they came out on general release. And I took a guy on our first date. And it was a film I got last minute tickets for. We were front and center, absolute front row. And it was For Your Consideration, a Christopher Guest film. And we got there to the cinema. And there was a red carpet outside, and I was like, oh, they must be having like a premiere for something here. Yeah, it was for Your Consideration. And we sat down front and center, and they were like, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Guest. And he came out on stage, and then they brought out the entire cast, including Eugene Levy and including Catherine O'Hara. These people were standing right in front of us, and this guy turned to me and was like, I'm going to have to take you to Paris or something for our second date. And I was like, I did not know this was going to happen. But it was absolutely, Christopher Guest just sort of did a stand-up set, and then we watched the film. It was a great time.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That's a great movie. I love that movie. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to this. Best in Show, phenomenal movie. I'm a cat person, but I'll deal with the dogs. And the comedy's going to get me through it because it's just hilarious. It's just such a funny movie. Yeah. That's going to do it for this episode of Transatlantic Watch Party. Be sure to follow us on TikTok for more fun stuff. And until next time, keep watching movies.